Remember a couple years ago, the Raiders wanted to get Sue. They got outbid by Miami. They offered $19 million, I believe. It wasn't enough. Sue was scheduled to get $26 million this year, and he got cut by Miami. And now he is visiting Oakland. I don't know if he's there right now, but consider the possibilities here. The Raiders' biggest problem on defense wasn't Sean Smith. It wasn't Emerson. It wasn't TJ Kerry. It wasn't any of these. It wasn't DJ Hayden. It wasn't any of these guys. It was the pass rush. And you can go watch the video. Coach's camp. You can see Mac constantly being just worn down the whole game. Triple teamed. Double teamed. Chipped. He never got any help. There wasn't any pass rush. For the last couple of years, they've been drafting defensive linemen who've done nothing. Many of them were projects. Many of them hardly played in college. Or they came injured. Bandidos, we had high hopes from. The first game, he trucked that guy. Forget the offensive lineman's. What did he do? He tossed that left tackle for Tennessee. I can't remember his name. He's the guy I wanted the Raiders to pick. I wanted him, but Tennessee traded up and got him. I was like, they need to replace Penn. They need a left tackle. And they didn't do it. But most of the time, he would be more interested in fighting the guy in front of him rather than the bigger picture. So Raiders still have a problem there. They need to get a pass rush. And that is how Paul Guenther's system works, based on what I've seen in all the descriptions. He likes to disguise blitzes, where he hardly blitzes at all. He does a lot of that. He relies on a 4-man pass rush. So how did the Raiders do this? I'll tell you what. I think they already should be in Vegas. You know why? Miami has 0% tax. That's why they were able to land him. Calais Campbell, whatever his name is, who signed with the Jaguars. Again, Jacksonville, 0%. A bunch of players, including Raiders, special teamers, from last year, or signed last year, with Tennessee. Because they have lower taxes, or no taxes. I don't know which it is. But it's definitely lower than California. California is pathetic. People hate Trump. Or hate just anything about low taxes. But anyway, there are solutions. As some people have said, on this post, that it's a possibility Derek Carr's contract can be restructured. It's a possibility other players' contracts could be restructured. And what I'm talking about mostly is long-term players. That includes Mac. His contract could be restructured. And why would they do this? Because in a couple of years they're going to Las Vegas, and that has 0% tax, just like Miami and Jacksonville, Florida. The solution is right there. If they're team players and they're thinking of long term, they hammer out a deal where he hardly costs any cap right now, because he's got paid a lot of money over his his career, this guy would be huge on the Raiders' defensive line. And I would still draft Vita Vea. I would still draft him. I would want the most dominant defensive line. I mean, the silver and black curtain. The Raiders need some defensive help, and this is huge. Him alone. Forget about the draft right now. Because I still think for a middle linebacker, Bowman should be brought back. He was the Raiders defensive leader last year. They need someone in the middle who knows what he's doing, has the experience. But this is how this happens. They can restructure contracts. Because I think people like Derek Carr, people like Mac, know the importance of some players they can add. And I think they could possibly convince Sue that he doesn't need $20 million right in the bank right now. That if they structure it later on, a bigger cap hit where, you know, the salary cap is probably going to balloon. Remember in 2020, there's going to be a new collective bargaining agreement. That could be a strike or whatever, but you playing for now, so you got to mortgage the future. And this is where it starts. This is where it starts. This guy is an incredible disruptive force. We cannot, Raiders cannot afford to let this guy leave the building. Yes, he's been known as a headache in many ways, and blah blah blah, and he's been he's had that reputation of taking off plays. And the Raiders obviously had quite a lot of players over the years who've done that, especially on the defensive line. But that was when Al Davis was the head coach. John Gruden is in charge now. And I think this can be done. I really do. I think Derek Carr might be on board. He should be. Khalil Mack should definitely, if he wants his 30 sacks in a season, well, this is your ticket. You need a partner in crime. You need someone on that line to absorb those blocks. This guy is not being single covered. This guy is at least being double covered. Double blocked. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I mean, you got Khalil Mack on one side, Irvin on the other, and you could have Sue in the middle with whomever and beside him. Still have Edwards, Hester, Ellis. But I'm telling you, this is a key. This is his Warren Sapp. This is John Gruden's Warren Sapp. You know what this is? This is for him to tell Stephen A. Jackson to go fuck off. Because he's all about, and all these other people, they like to talk about, oh, Chucky Gruden went to Tampa Bay and he inherited a defense from Tony Dungy. I mean, that's probably sticking in his mind. There's no inheritance right here. He's putting together the defense. All the cornerbacks being brought in, all the cornerbacks being brought out, all the linebackers being brought in, and now potentially a blockbuster deal. I say you make it happen. You do not forsake this. Because in 2 years, they could be on strike. But in 2 years, they could be in Vegas. And tax structure is different out there. We're talking about, what is it for California? 13, 14%? That's, like on $100 million contract. That's 15. That's almost 13, 14 million. Yeah, that's huge. Gruden. He's the key to this. He's the key to convince this guy to come join the dark side. Yes, this could happen. This could happen if what I say is true. That there are players on board, he's on board to restructure this thing based on Vegas. Raiders need it. This is their big money ticket for defense. And there's no excuse. Get your $100 million coach. You get your $100 million quarterback. You're going to have your $100 million defensive end. You're going to need a little more help than that. Yeah. If it doesn't happen, I'd say it's someone not trying. I said they need to work together as a team. And they have to come to some agreement. Make this happen. Because it would be incredible. I'm telling you, no cornerback can cover a guy forever like the way the Raiders cornerbacks have been trying to do. Watch Sean Smith and Emerson have great seasons next year. Because they weren't on the dysfunctional Raiders defense. That, yes, Norton had a lot to do with, but something? Who had a lot to do with it? Del Rio. And he didn't get as much blame as Norton, but he was the head coach, and all indications were he was calling a lot of the plays. You definitely noticed it in the Kansas City game. But that's when they brought in Bowman. To me, it's a bonehead move to not bring him back. I mean, how many linebackers they just say, oh, you're too expensive? It was Riley, and last year they brought that guy Brown in. He wanted money, and they wouldn't give it to him. He only led the league in tackles. The Raiders couldn't tackle. They couldn't tackle anything. But this is doable. I'm telling you, this is doable. The Raiders, they can get this done. Going to Vegas, structure it like that, like a 3-year deal or whatever. Mortgage it for this year. Make it happen.